If you are a real estate agent and you are tired of cold calling, door knocking, paying for ads that flat out don't work, or just tired of not knowing how to generate leads, then this is the channel for you. We are four rockstar agents who have come together to help fellow agents achieve financial freedom as well as location and time freedom. My name is Andy Hollis, along with my partners Aileen Fountain, David Doran, and Tim Hollinden. Together, we have over 50 plus years experience and knowledge in the real estate and sales and training industry, and we are hoping to pass that knowledge on to you. So let's get started.
Welcome, everybody. I'm going to dive in. Again, I've been in the business 22 years, three-time icon with EXP, did over $1 million a year, 3 years out of the last 5. I mean, just cranking with real estate business. I run a team in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm also licensed in Indiana. I crossed the river into southern Indiana. I'm also licensed in Alabama and do a little bit of business in the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area. So appreciate your referrals, and I'll gladly reciprocate with you as well. I created this system because I hate to cold call. I have cold called. I can be successful cold call. I just don't like doing it. And I believe in doing things in life that you like, not things that you don't like. So I created this program really to have prospects call me. This is an 8-letter campaign. It's not old-fashioned because it still works. I'm going to show you 8 letters and a system and a process that you can build in a half a day once, and then it's done. And you, depending on how many FSBOs are in your area each day, and I'm going to show you or talk to you about how you can find those FSBOs outside of just driving around and writing down names and phone numbers and yard sign information. We'll talk a little bit about that. So on the last training, I talked about a shotgun approach versus a rifle approach. I like a shotgun approach. And what I mean by that, if there were 200 birds flying in the air, it's a whole lot easier to shoot a shotgun in the air and have multiple birds fall down to the ground. And that's what I focus on when they fall to the ground. Call it lazy, call it efficient, call it whatever you want. I don't like to prospect. So I created this so I didn't have to prospect. And then I told you, you can spend a half a day setting this up once, and then literally you can spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes every morning. And your marketing is done for the day before most people even get out of bed and have their first cup of coffee. I'm a morning person. I'm up at 6 a.m. and by 6:30, I had 20 to 50 letters in my mailbox ready for the postal person to pick it up every single day, Monday through Friday. I did this starting in 2008, did it all the way to 2019, stopped it at that point because there weren't many expired, so I stopped that part of it, but FSBOs are always there. And I'm going to tell you, this training is probably easier than the last training I did on expireds. FSBOs are not pissed off. They're just saying, gosh, I tried this on my own. I haven't had success. All I've done is thrown a sign in the yard. Maybe they're wasting money on print ads, and maybe they're having an open house, but they don't advertise that. So very few, if anybody, shows up. So FSBOs need us. So think about that. You know, a lot of this is always mindset in sales, and FSBOs need us. Expireds, they're pissed off at us because their last realtor failed them. And I'm going to try to integrate some of the things that we've talked about, or excuse me, some of the things that we've learned in the last 10 days or so with the NAR proposed settlement agreement with the DOJ that may or may not happen come July. I'm going to try to talk to you, but a lot of this content I've not yet modified for that, but we're going to talk about how you might tweak that just to keep yourself protected. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and get started. Again, our title, How I Made $1 Million a Year in GCI, and it all starts with expireds and FSBOs. Expireds, Jeff showed you how to access the other training. This one is, again, brand new. Go back and watch the expired ones if you want to also make this, but 70% of my listing business, ladies and gentlemen, came from expireds and FSBOs every single year. I would run, I think I had about 60 listings at a peak. And of course, every listing would generate 1 or 2 buyers if you do that correctly. So my team and I ended up doing 180-ish sales every year. And it all started with this. I believe you have to have pillars in your real estate business. And, you know, you've been on prior trainings. They talk about, you know, a 2-legged stool is going to fall over. A 3-legged stool is a little better, a little sturdier. 4-legged stool is even better. This is not any different. So 2 of my major pillars were expireds and FSBOs, and that blossoms into tons of buyers. And ultimately, that's why this says it starts with, I didn't make $1 million a year on FSBOs. I made $1 million a year on something that began with expireds and FSBOs. It blossoms into something much larger. So as the slide says here, I designed this with no cold calling, no chasing prospects. They call you. Call it lazy. I like to call it efficient because my marketing was done in 30 minutes and I'm out the door showing property, listing houses. And because of these systems I'm going to show you today, I literally at a peak was going on 2 to 3 listing appointments every single day. You too can do this, and it's not difficult. It's not easy, but it's about being consistent. This is not a one and done. Don't mail to 50 FSBOs and your phone doesn't ring, get pissed off and quit. You've got to do this every single day, because the process is, think about print advertising. Anytime I bought advertising, the advertising sales rep told you, you've got to see an ad 7 times before it really clicks and that entity is memorable in your mind. This is not any different. We'll talk more about that. So FSBOs, this is something you should be able to do under an hour a day, far less if you don't have a whole lot of FSBOs in your market. We'll talk about how to find some of those. It's really simple. This is about just getting on your computer, do a lot of copy and pasting, and I'll show you exactly how. Again, 7-letter campaign. It's all direct mail. You can call FSBOs. We've all done it. Hey, it's Tim Hollinden. I see your house for sale, 123 Main Street. You're probably getting a ton of calls from realtors already. And I want you to first know I'm not calling to list your house. That puts them at ease. You can do cold calling. You can add that to this. This training, though, is designed for people who don't want to cold call. You can do a lot of things, but this is just about direct mail. Pump it in their mailbox every single week for 7 weeks in a row. 7-letter direct mail campaign. You need a home address and a mail merge. Going to print directly to a number 10 envelope with only the address as your return address. I don't want you to say, Tim Hollinden, EXP Realty, and the address. I only want your address as the return address, because I want the mail to get opened. If they see a real estate company, or maybe they see your name and you're known in your market, chances are they're going to throw it right into the circular file. So nothing but your return address. This is something where you're going to take massive attention grabbing headlines. You're going to see, I use a guaranteed sale program that we're going to talk in depth about. And you're going to just create this thing. You can copy everything I've done and modify it only for your state specific things. But because I'm making a guarantee, I'm going to give you the disclaimer. Check with your particular state's real estate commission, or check with your broker. If you're not with the EXP, check with your broker and make sure you can do something like I'm going to be able to show you here. One time only. You heard me say a couple times already. You can spend a half a day setting this up and you're done. And then it's just a few minutes every single day, depending on how many FSBOs are in your market. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to create 7 letters. I have all those available. Create those in your favorite word processor. I use Microsoft Word. I use Microsoft Excel. I'm a Microsoft guy. You can use whatever you want. And I'm not going to teach you how to do that on this training. I'm going to teach you how to do the process. So if you're using a different platform, you'll have to make whatever modifications. But again, 7 letters are available to you if you want them, minor editing. Create your list format in your favorite spreadsheet program. So again, I'm creating my list in Excel. I'm creating a separate spreadsheet for the mail I'm going to send out today. And then you're going to need to learn how to do a mail merge. That's the old fashioned, Microsoft Word to Excel, print that name and address of that prospective client on the outside of that number 10 envelope, along with only your address as the return address. You only need 7 items to do this. The first thing is what I call the big list. I've got tens of thousands of people still on my big list today. So let's divert just for a second. I told you I started this program in January 1st of 2008. The market was terrible. We were heading into a deep recession, but I got a lot of listings because a lot of listings were expiring. I got a lot of listings because there were a lot of FSBOs that couldn't sell on their own. So we're going to create a list, and you're going to see examples of all these, but the big list is the list that contains all of your data. Your list of FSBOs from last night, you're going to add to every day your big list. The third thing is your today list. And again, today's list is only the people that I'm mailing one of those 7 letters to today. And I'm going to show you how to track all that. The fourth thing you need is a stock of number 10 envelopes. I bought them 500 per box at Costco. I'd buy 10 boxes at a time. I was typically mailing about 500 letters, and I know that because I bought 500 stamps once a month. And that's what, that's what, I don't even know what the stamps cost anymore, but about 60 cents a piece is the only cost you're going to have in this. And that's your envelope, your letter, your toner, and the stamp is, of course, the most expensive part. Fifth thing you need is a stock of your pre-printed letters. A through G, I call them in my FSBO. If you were on the training a few weeks ago, it was 1 through 7. So on my FSBO, and that's so I can differentiate and know who is supposed to get which letter today. So you're going to pre-print those, all 7 letters. I bought one of those little mailbox dividers where I had a whole stack of my letter 1 and my letter A and my letter 2 and my letter B and so forth. So I knew exactly I could pull them out. I also bought it in time. Once I got this really kicking, I bought a paper folder. So I literally, when they came off of my laser printer, I threw them all in a paper folder and had everything tri-folded. And I stuck those in this mailbox slot organizer thing. You need your MLS because you've got to go into your MLS to do some research when we pick up those FSBOs. And you need access to your online tax record system. Why? Because not everybody lives in the house they have for sale. Some of those are absentee owners. You want to make sure the mail goes to where that person lives, not to the renter they may have in their FSBO house. The big list, you're going to have spreadsheet columns. And on that, you're going to have the name of the owner, the name of the property that they're trying to sell, the owner's address, their city, state, zip. I like to put the date I entered the FSBO into the spreadsheet. And then I've got columns for 7 mailings into the future. And I'm going to show you examples of that here on a couple of slides. List of last night's FSBOs. Well, how do you get last night's FSBOs? You can get FSBOs off of Zillow, or you can subscribe to a company. There's a bunch of companies that will actually send you FSBOs into your email every single morning. I was looking for a few examples, and Zillow's very easy. You can go to Zillow.com. You can actually click on buyer. You can then click on for sale by owner, key in a zip code or a city, and it'll show you every for sale by owner Zillow has on their website. So that's one way to get them. FSBO.com is another website. And when you pull those up, all you're going to do is copy the address of the house for sale, and you're going to paste it on your spreadsheet. And how that data comes off of your copy is going to somewhat depend. That you might have to separate the street from the city, from the state, from the zip, or et cetera. You're just going to have to play with that depending on the source of the data that you use, and your columns will then match up there. So copy paste the property address on your big list for each FSBO property. Then you're going to go to your MLS hot sheet, and you're going to look at everything that goes active every single day. Because the first thing we want to do is we want to find out, has that FSBO maybe listed with another agent already? And you don't want to waste your money or your time or not be in compliance with ad regulations and start marketing to a FSBO if they've actually put their house on the MLS with another agent. So that'll keep you out of hot water. Lastly, you're going to search the tax records to obtain the address of the owner where they actually live, because they may or may not live at the address they're trying to sell. And then you're going to put each one of those in the big list. And then on that big list, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Well, I'll tell you here real quick. The first letter, again, I call A, and then B, C, D, E, F, G. That's 7 letters over a 6.5 week process. Now, what I do, let's say a FSBO came on the market yesterday. Most agents that are cold calling, they're going to call that FSBO today. And that FSBO is going to be upset with that person that's telemarketing to them, because they're one of about 20 phone calls they get the next day after they see their first FSBO ad. This system works because most agents then give up. They might call them a second or a third time over the next few days, but this system works because by week 5 or 6 or 7, according to NAR, most FSBOs, 92% is the last stat I saw, end up listing with the full service agent. So you're going to hit these people 7 times, or a total of 7 times over a 6.5 week period. This is what that looks like. So these are the columns. And again, the columns are dictated by the source of your data. If you're using Zillow and the data is in this format, then this will work for you. If you need to change it, maybe street numbers separated from street name, you're just going to have to play with that until you get it. And that's going to save you a lot of time. If you can get it all consolidated like this, that's the best way. And depending on the spreadsheet system that you're using, they have ability to cut data into pieces, and they also have the ability to put it back into sections. So that may or may not make a whole lot of sense, but basically I can take the city, the state, and the zip and concatenate them all together into one CSV field like I have here. So we've got the name, the property address, the address, the city, state, zip, and then the date I entered it. And then you see here, I've got 5 dates, and this is just an old example of my expired in FSBO daily. This is my big list that I call it. These are sitting here. There's 5 days of the week. And go ahead and take your calendar all the way out to the end of this year. It's real easy to tell Excel, in my case, to take 12/16 all the way to, and that's a bad example because it's March right now, but go all the way to end of 12/31 and just could periodically update it. But I've got 5 days of the week, Monday through Friday. I chose to put a yellow highlight separator for the weekend in between this. Now, you can modify this and mail 6 days a week. I chose just to do it Monday through Friday, take Saturday and Sunday off, other than showing property and listing houses. I did not send out any mail on a Saturday, and obviously that you can't send mail on a Sunday. But that gave me a visual separation. And if today was Tuesday, 12/17, and I wanted to, I just added some FSBOs, then these would get the number 1 because I'm mailing them the first letter today. Now, I would immediately mail them the second letter this Friday. Why? I wanted them to get 2 pieces of mail really quick out of the gate. And I like the Friday mailing. So one, I budgeted a little more time on Friday because I'm sending all my 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s and A's through G's for FSBOs and expired. So my Friday mailing was a bigger mailing, and I could time block maybe an hour, hour and a half to send out a significant amount of mail versus the 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 maybe per day of the FSBOs that I'm getting each day of the week. Depending on where you are, your market's going to differ. So you may or may not spend that much time, but I'd spend about 10 or 15 minutes a day and about an hour to an hour and a half on Friday. Ultimately, I automated this whole process, and I just turned it over to my amazing assistant, said, here's how you do it. And they ran with it for years. And this thing just ran like a clock. And I would list 30, 40 FSBOs and expireds, every single year just from this system at a cost of 60 cents per letter. So 1s, 2s, 3s, A's, B's, and C's. If we're 12/17, everything I'm mailing today, the first time to a FSBO gets the number 1. The Friday, the number 2. And back to that, I want the mail to arrive on Saturday because most people are off on the weekends. They're a little more relaxed. They're opening their mail on the Saturday. Maybe they're a little less likely to throw it into the circular file. Again, don't put your name or your company name in the return address, just the address itself. You want all that mail coming back to you, because if somebody's already moved and they have a forwarding address, you want to be able to get that mail to them faster instead of relying on the U.S. Postal Service and the 10-day mail forward that it typically takes to get to their new address. So watch for those letters to come back in. It's going to have a little yellow sticker on it that's got the new address that the person now lives, and update the spreadsheet as soon as you get that and remail them the letter or letters that they've missed. So start that campaign over in that particular case. And then, so we've got a 1 here, we got a 2 here. Next Friday, they get 3. The following Friday, they get number 4. The next Friday, they get number 5, so on and so forth. Now, this one is Tim today. Here's an actual example where I have taken the column, whatever today's date was, back on the prior example, we used 12/17. That was a Tuesday. And on 12/17, I sorted by that column. So all my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 came to the top. My A through G came after that. I knew every person that needed a letter of some sort today. So then that got copied out of my big list and put on this spreadsheet that I call Tim Today. That was just my daily list. I don't even know how many I had on this, but when I was doing this pretty aggressively, I mean, I might have several hundred on a Friday go out, but it was typically 5 to 15 on average expireds and or FSBOs in my market each day. So this is what you see. So This has already been cut and pasted, or copied, excuse me, not cut, but copied and pasted onto this Tim Today spreadsheet. And this is the spreadsheet that you're going to mail merge with your Word document, which is your number 10 envelope. And I use a envelope adapter and a laser printer, and it just spits them in and literally could print out 50 envelopes in 2-3 minutes, something like that. So the ones, twos, threes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., that tells me what letter they get. So when these come off the printer, all these ones, when they come off the printer, I'm going to stack them into one pile. And then I'm just take one of those tri-folded letters that I've already printed that came out of my little mailbox system I told you about. And I'm going to stuff the mail, put a stamp on it. I did everything self-sticks. I'm not licking and sticking everything. That's a pain in the butt. Just real super efficient. And then every day you do this, you just copy the next list that's supposed to get mailed today. And remember, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all you're doing are your new FSBOs. Fridays, you'll see this where you've got more because they're getting whatever letter and sequence they're due on that Friday. And this is how fancy it is, guys and gals. Just an address, their name and their address, and put a stamp on it. Do not use a postage meter. That looks like direct mail, gets thrown in the circular file faster. That is it. Now you probably want to know what I'm sending them. So let me stop this, reshare another screen. What you're going to see here is a catchy headline. This is not pretty, it's not fancy, and it's not supposed to be. Those of you that were on the training a few weeks ago, I said, don't even put your company name on it. I put the company name in the signature block, but early on, I didn't put my logo. And I told you all, some letters, I think one of my assistants thought they were helping and put this on there at one point. But now that I'm thinking back to it, this alone might get that letter thrown in the trash versus just seeing this much. So it's all about consistency. It's about doing this every day. And I told you I had a guaranteed sale. I will sell your home in 39 days or I'll sell it for free, guaranteed. Make this yours, ladies and gentlemen. In this market, you might choose to do this. You might say 19 days. You might say 9 days. And I'm going to show you a sign-off letter because there's terms and conditions. This is designed to get you in the front door at the kitchen table talking to that for sale by owner. Would you like to get your home sold quickly and for top dollar? Would you like to sell your home without doing any of the work? If so, I think I can help. Then I go on. This is letter to serve to introduce me to you, blah, blah, blah. I believe I've come up with a quick, easy, and effective way to sell your home quickly and without hassle for top dollar. Begin using my home selling system in the next 24 hours or less. I've been very successful assisting for sale by owners all over the Louisville metro area, et cetera, et cetera. Again, make this your own, but it's not designed to be pretty. You want that red highlighted title to get them to read the letter below. So that's all that is. You ask them to call you, and eventually your phone is going to start ringing. The typical phone call I got from a FSBO or an expired was, man, Tim, if you're half as good of a real estate agent selling houses as you are marketing to me to get me to list with you, we need to talk. So that was a fun call. I had a sheet that I filled out on the phone when I'm interviewing the person, name, address, what property. Is there a value that you feel like you needed to get out of it? I would always ask them, do you have a mortgage? Do you owe money on the property? Approximately what's that? Sometimes I get a little pushback on that, but when they understood, we had a lot of short sales going on in the market. So I just told them, no, I need your mortgage balance because if for some reason you're going to end up short in selling your home after we determine what it's worth, I need to know that because I need to know how to prepare for the appointment. Because I am a certified distressed property expert, and I'd go into those meetings with a whole different set of documents than just the standard listing contract. So that's I'll sell your house in 39 days or I'll sell it for free, guaranteed. Don't be concerned about that. Some of you are saying, oh my gosh, I can't sell this house for free. You're not going to do this very often. In all the years I've been doing this program, I sold one house for free. And it's because I screwed up and I didn't train my agent that went on that appointment to show them the sign-off sheet and to get them to sign off on it, saying they actually agreed to the terms and conditions of my program. And I'm going to show you that as the last file that we look at here in my Word documents. But you can make the program what you want it to be. So don't let that scare you. That house I sold for free, I sold in 41 days instead of 39, by the way. So, and if you have to sell one house for free out of several hundred over a few years, you'll be okay, I promise you. So that's A. B, I will sell your home in 39 days or I'll sell it for free, guaranteed. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back to this one. Sorry. That's actually the last thing I was going to show you. Second letter B, do you distrust realtors? Are you afraid to hire a realtor even though you know you may need to? Do you need to make top dollar on the sale of your property? These are all designed to get their attention. It's been my experience that FSBOs are distrustful of real estate agents. We all need to get as much as possible. So I'm addressing their concern. If this sounds like you, there may be another option for you, me. You see, I'm not your run of the mill realtor. Start differentiating yourself. They're getting pounded by realtors saying, I need to come talk to you about listing your house. Or I may have a buyer. Can I come see it? You know, that's a cold calling technique I used for years when I was doing a lot of cold calling. Can I come see your house tonight at 6 or would tomorrow at 10 a.m. be better? I've got buyers I'm working with. I'd like to see if it might be a fit. You know, some people say that that's not genuine unless they legitimately have a buyer. So anyway, those are cold calling techniques. We're not training on that, but you know, there's people out there doing that successfully every day too. I offer guarantees that make it risk-free to work with me, like my easy exit listing agreement. Unhappy? Fire me. I also have a menu of commissions. And as we get into this NAR situation in July, if it gets approved, you know, that's going to be important. You know, I think you can put on your guarantee some things and make the seller do this if they want the program, not as a term of real estate commission. And I'm going to have my attorneys look at this when we get to that slide. I'll go into that more. But a menu of commissions, you know, you might have, I'll do this for 4%. I'll do all of this for 5%. I'll do all of this for 6%. Pick which one you want. You know, the DOJ would love that. So that means you pay me less than you might imagine for a phenomenal level of service. Again, I'm just getting in the door. Interested to know more? Call me. You'll be glad you did. C, sellers. What's the marketing strategy you're using to get your home sold? Making the choice to sell your FSBO always seems like a great idea at first. It seems pretty easy. When a real estate agent sticks a sign in your yard, and a few weeks later, you see an under contract sign. There's a bit more to it, but you're probably finding out by now. Again, every letter is a different topic, and I'm just giving them a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So in 7 weeks, they've got all kinds of data about me and what I would do once they let me in their front door. And most people, I'll tell you, when I go in their front door, they didn't end up using the guarantee. Remember, it's a door opener. All I want to do is have the opportunity. We'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to that 39-day sign-off sheet that I popped up accidentally here. So your marketing strategy might consist of approximate 3 tactics: sign, Facebook post, couple of open houses. 3 tactics any real estate agent worth his or her real estate license would tell you: do not sell homes. But it's unreasonable to think that you would know this. It's sort of an industry secret. So secret, in fact, that most of the average agents out there don't even realize it. So I'm also showing them that the average agent just does those 3 things. And I'm doing things very different. It's all about marketing. I go into the 190 things I do to get a home sold versus the 3 that most agents do. Again, just differentiation. Let's go to D. I use high-tech tools that allow me to capture every potential buyer. There's a couple of systems on the market. ProQuest Technologies is one of them. That's an 800 number. You put an extension on it. I buy 25 sign routers, each with a different extension. And when I put a sign in the yard, that ProQuest 1-800 number with an extension would go on there. I stopped using that and started using a local service called VoicePad. VoicePad is now all over the country. So that's another system you could use if you want a high-tech tool like that. And that was just a call capture system. When someone passed that sign and they dialed that phone number, keyed in that extension, I trapped that person's name and phone number, and I knew which house they were calling about. So I could then proactively go after that buyer off of that seller listed for sale by owner or that expired property. So I tell them I use high-tech tools. Why do 92% of for sale by owners ultimately decide? Not all real estate agents are created equal. When you decide it's time to hire a professional, and again, NAR says 92% do, you want to hire an agent that has all the right tools. So differentiation, and that's obviously very key in the market, not just now, but always. And if you invoke a call capture system, what you want to do is go right here, insert a paragraph, says, go ahead and try it right now. Dial 1-800-555-1212 and key in extension 6677. And then you're going to know every person that got this letter, it's a FSBO, do a different number in your expired letter. You're going to capture their name and their phone number by just them testing out to see how the system would work. And I'd have a simple, typical house for sale, a recording behind that 800 number and that extension that they would see. But then I'd gather their information. Then I'd call them back. They reached out to the call capture system. I'm going to call them back and say, see how this works? If you were a buyer, I'd already be talking to that buyer, trying to convince them to come look at your property after, of course, I got them pre-approved. So they'll start to experience some of those systems. So that's D. Letter E, I'll sell your home in 39 days or I'll sell it for free, guaranteed. This is a reminder. You are missing out on an opportunity to get your home sold quickly and for top dollar. Forgive the dramatic opening, but getting your attention could be worth thousands of dollars to you in the very near future. So I trust you'll excuse me. I'm writing to follow up again on the letters I've been sending you. I've been sharing with you what I do, how I can help you get your home quickly sold and for top dollar, yet I've not heard from you. By the way, pause. When they do call you, take them out of the program. Don't have egg on your face and keep mailing to them after you've already had a conversation. Go into the database and delete them. The results-oriented concepts and techniques that I use to sell homes are designed to get your home sold easily and without risk. My system has produced bottom-line results for many homeowners all across the metro area. Call me today. Phone number. 2 more. F, think sold. My list of benefits probably doesn't seem like much of a novelty anymore because they've already gotten 5 letters from me. This is number 6. You've read about some of them in my letters to you. You understand, and I'm just repeating what they should have learned by now. You understand that if you're unhappy, you can fire me. I use high-tech tools. You've read about how I guarantee your property and sell your property in 39 days, or you pay me nothing. So at this point, maybe you don't even register these innovative ideas, hard-hitting strategies, and dramatic results anymore. Except if you want to get your home on the market and actually sell it this time, or you want an agent who really performs for you, or you want top dollar in the shortest amount of time, or maybe it's because you've already decided to call me. Go ahead. You'll be glad you did. Last letter. By the way, when this is over, I stop. If they haven't called me after 7 letters, I basically give up on that particular thing. But I keep looking at actives in the hot sheet every day on the MLS, and I'm taking those people off of the list if they did hire an agent. Because again, I don't want to keep marketing to them. And then periodically, I might hit them all again quarterly or semi-annually. And what I did do successfully every year is come springtime, about this time of year, mid-March to mid-April, I would mail everybody in my database that first 39-day letter again, or I do a really cool 5x7 color postcard about, spring is in the air. Have you thought any more about selling your house? That sort of thing. And, again, then I'm sending tens of thousands of pieces of mail, and I'd pick up listings every spring in the early spring, and that would start me off running for the summer selling season. So the last letter is sellers. Have you found your dream home yet? I'm surprised I haven't heard from you. You've had your home for sale owner for several weeks now over my last several letters. And again, I'm reminding them of all the things I've told them about, but I still haven't heard from you. So I'm assume a well-qualified buyer has already surfaced who's completed a contract and met all the contingencies, planting seeds the whole time. Congratulations. My next question is, have you found your dream home yet? If not, I'd like to offer my services to you as a buyer's rep. And I go ahead and I convert that seller into a buyer lead. And if they did get lucky and get a contract, then I might pick them up as a buyer and start showing them property. So that's the last letter. Again, my only goal with this whole thing is to get people to call me. So I'm not having to prospect 2-3 hours a day doing this manually. I wanted to get in my door. So I go into the listing appointment. The very first thing you should do when you go into a listing appointment, I know some of you are buyer's agents, you're scared to death of sellers and listings. Get over that. You're just going to have to start doing it. Walk in the front door, walk straight to the kitchen, set your stuff down, grab your pad and your pen, and tour the house. Say, would you like me to tour on my own, or would you like to show me around? And hopefully they want to show you around because you start building rapport. And my process when I walk into a house is to go clockwise through the first floor, go upstairs, go clockwise through the second floor, go down the basement. If you have basements in your area, go clockwise. Because when I get back to the office, when I've listed that property, then I remember exactly what room goes where in the sequence, and it how it allows me to, in my mind, put things together real quickly. So I go to the table, I do the tour, I come back to the tour, I give them my listing presentation, I give them the comps, we decide on what the house is worth. And then I say, now, you called me because of my guaranteed sale program, didn't you? They said, yeah, because obviously I know that. I'm just re-verifying it. So I need to show you how that program works. Then I pull out this letter. And again, guys and gals, make this your own. If it's not 39, make it 49 or 19 or 29 or 9, whatever it is. You determine the terms and conditions. I make them check, yes, I want the plan, or nope, I don't want it. Date, time, signature, print. These were my terms. And we'll talk a little about the NAR thing as we go through this. My average commission in my market was 6%. So you had to pay me 7%. I've got better services than the average agent. That's why. And I offered 3.5% to the cooperating agent. Why? Because it gave the agents, in fact, agents loved to sell my listings because 99% of the time they knew they were getting 3.5% instead of 3%. Now with this whole NAR thing, that's going to change. And this is the part of that I was telling you, I'm going to have my attorney review this and see what I can and can't do going forward if that does get approved. Maybe this will say you have to agree to offer 3.5% toward the buyer to use however they'd like it. Maybe it's to pay the buyer broker, maybe it's to buy down their rate, et cetera, et cetera. So this will get tweaked slightly, I think, after legal review if this thing does come about in July. But back when this was designed, you have to pay me 7 instead of something less. You have to offer 3.5. So I'm getting 3.5 for all the extra service you already know that I've been doing, and we're paying the buyer's agent a little bit more to give them incentive to sell this house. An appraisal must be ordered and paid for upfront by the seller. I mean, some people would balk at this point, say, I don't want to do that. But I'd tell them, I said, listen, it's not fair for you to determine the value, and it's not fair for me to determine the value because of this guarantee. So let's get a third-party person to determine its value. And then once they did, must be ordered and paid for upfront by seller. Property must be priced at appraised value upon receipt of the appraisal listing by the listing agent. So I'd go ahead and list that property tonight at the listing table, have it on the market the next day. We'd order the appraisal. The seller would pay for it. And by the way, you can say, and I'll refund that appraisal out of my commission at the closing if you want to. That's another thing that you can, again, make this your own. Do what works for you. So we listed it tonight for $500,000. The appraisal said it's only worth $487,000. So they have an option. Price this. The 39-day guarantee starts when the day after the price is changed in the MLS. That's the next sentence. Seller understands they'll still have to pay the cooperating agent, even if it's me, the listing agent, that represents the buyer. So I've basically pre-authorized a dual agency situation. Now I'd still get a formal agency if and when this came, but basically what I'm doing is saying, okay, 39 days is come and gone. I failed. I'm sorry, but now you don't owe me the 3.5%. You only owe the 3.5% to the buyer's agent. Well, if that's me, you still have to pay me the 3.5% as the buyer's agent. That's what that sentence or two is saying. By signing below, if this option is selected, sellers agreeing to this dual agency in advance. If the home is placed under contract with the above 39 days, the guarantee's been met. This is saying I don't have to keep doing this over and over and over and over again. If I had a contract that was acceptable to you, this is done. In the 39 days, I've met the guarantee. Even if that contract subsequently falls through for any reason whatsoever. If an offer has been received that's equal to or greater than 90%, make this your own. Make it 85%, 95%, do what you need to do to feel comfortable with the offer. But I'm telling them, if we listed it for $500,000 and we got an offer for $450,000 or higher, the guarantee's been met. And I explained to them, and I said, I put that in there because I don't want you to be unreasonable. I don't want you to get a $482,000 offer and refuse it just because you want the last 3 days in the 39-day to pass so you can pay me half as much. Okay, you see that? So that's what that does. If any of the above terms and conditions are not strictly adhered to, then the guarantee is null and void. Other things you could consider, you could say the seller must do a pre-home inspection and agree to fix anything that's, life, health, or safety. Make it your own. Come up with your own terms and conditions in this 39-day sign-off letter or this 19-day sign-off letter. But that's what you do. And most of the time, the seller would say, you know what? I don't really want to do all that. I like you. I believe in your marketing plan. You've been mailing to me for 7 weeks. Let's just do a regular listing. Like, okay. Then that listing might be lower than 7%. Again, maybe it's not. I've set the expectation. So maybe it's 7 and I keep 4 and I offer 3. You never know. Or they say, no, I choose not to participate. This gets me off the hook from the people that said, no, you were mailing me all that mail. You said you'd do it in 39 days or it's free. That's why you must do this. And I told you, the only house I ever had to sell for free was one where my sales rep, or my buyer's agent, or excuse me, my listing specialist that I hadn't fully trained to go through this whole process, or I did and he forgot. I don't know what it was. But anyway, have them say yes or no. So that's the program.